Still loading.
I get those goosebumps every time, yeah, 713 through the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low-key. I'm sipping low-key and honest, flying right up. I get those goosebumps every time.
Newcastle United.
I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around me, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time.
Up the mugs. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC. We're back again, the big match preview. It's the Chelsea showdown on Sunday, and we're going to get into it all because it's a massive, massive game, a season definer, a Champions League definer. It is all of those things, and we're going to get into it. And of course, I've got the main man, Chris Hall, with me. How you doing, fella? How's things?
Oh, good, mate. Sounds like we've had a very similar day. Busy day today, mate. But yeah, really looking forward to tonight's show. Also looking forward to the two games. I had a question for you, Pete. So maybe we can ask Andrew it later as well. But which game? Thanks, Lord. Which game will you be watching? Will it be Spurs or will it be Man United?
Oh, good question, actually. I'll be honest with you. I think there's probably more chance of an upset watching Spurs and Bodo. So I'm gonna definitely start there. That's my starting point, and then I'll maybe just flick between the two. And if I'm lucky enough, and the wife is kind enough, or maybe if I get away with it, I might well have the game on the TV and then the Man United game on the phone. I might just do a double whammy. But yeah, I might not be lucky enough to get away with that. But what about you, fella? What you go for?
Yeah, no, like you, I think there's more chance of an upset in the Bodo Glimt Tottenham game because obviously Bodo Glimt are at home, but also they've got that goal, haven't they? So it's 3-1, a little bit in the balance. And from what I heard, I could be wrong, but I'm sure I read earlier that Athletic Bilbao were almost waving the flag because is it Inaki Williams isn't in the squad? Who were the other players? There was 3 big players who weren't even in the squad, so it's as if they've just gone, leave that. I mean, we'll see the lineups in due course, but yeah, I heard they left a few players at home, so whether or not they're focusing on the league, I don't even know where they are in the league actually, but whether or not they've just kind of thought, you know what, 3-0. Who got sent off in the first leg as well for Bilbao? One of them got sent off, didn't he?
Yeah, I forgot the name of the player, but yeah, you're right. And he'll be a big miss as well.
Yeah, it was a good play. It was a good player, wasn't it?
Yeah, one of their main players. I can't remember the name. Someone in the chat will know. Someone in the chat.
They'll know.
But ultimately, as you said, that game looks like it's already pretty much wrapped up, and so therefore, you're already kind of got the opinion that Man United are going to make it to the final, which, it just sounds, it's still even now just sounds really weird to say. But look, all the good stuff, people coming into the chat, welcome in as always.
That was it. And Sanchez and the Williams brothers, so Inaki and Nico are both not in the squad apparently.
Yeah. Oh. They're doing a wolfie then, aren't they? Waving the white flag. They're done and dusted. But thank you, people. Sophie B. everyone in the chat, make sure you get those likes up as well. People are coming in as the show is just about kicking off. Thank you for watching, of course, and thank you for sticking with Loading Mag NUFC. And look, we're going to get straight into it. We might as well, because our guest is here. He's going to be eagerly anticipating, or not. If you watch Top Table Talk, you'll know what I mean by that. The big game for Chelsea tonight, the semi-final, second leg of the Europa League. It's a pleasure to welcome him, Andrew, the Winter Surfer. So let's get him in. Welcome in, Andrew. How you doing?
All good, all good. But I hope everyone else is as well. Everyone in the chat. Yeah. Cannot wait for this game today, man. You know what I mean? The real European football. None of this rubbish from the two previous nights. Proper football. Everyone knows real European football's played on Thursday nights, not this Tuesday, Wednesday rubbish. No one wants that.
I like it.
I love how you're so much more upbeat now today, because when we asked you about it, I think it was last week, you did not want to talk about the fact that you were in the Europa Conference.
I got to be honest with you, they did exactly what I wanted them to do and have a massive first leg win, which means we can rotate even more than the first leg. We can rotate knowing we've got yours. And thanks again, Premier League, once again, at putting us at 12 o'clock on a midday on a Sunday. Thanks a lot, Premier League. Don't put like Liverpool's game earlier and have ours at a late game where more people will be watching it. But no, thanks a lot for that. But we did exactly. The only disappointing thing was that we conceded and it wasn't like 4-0. Do you know what I mean? So, but we can rotate. I'm just hoping he doesn't play anyone who's expected to play on Sunday, even for like 20 minutes or something like that. I really don't want that, because I just don't want to see. I don't want to see Caicedo, Enzo, and anyone else go on there that doesn't need to go on there. You shouldn't need. I don't want Palmer on there. Don't want Jackson on there. Those guys don't need to go on there. Do you know what I mean? Or Cucurella doesn't need to go on there. Stuff like that. So
no, I get it. Absolutely, you're in a position now where you're almost proofing yourself for the game on Sunday, and it is absolutely a massive game. How are you feeling about just initial feeling? I know obviously you got a game tonight, but what are your initial feelings about Sunday? Are you worried about it? Are you feeling positive about it off the back of a brilliant win against Liverpool? I know people talk about it being a reserve side, etc., but you still got the win. How are you feeling in general about it, mate?
Well, if we take away our record aside and just talk about you guys and your home record, it's to be respected. Do you know what I mean? You're to be feared at home. So even without our record, we're not favourites for this game on Sunday because of how brilliant you are at home. Do you know what I mean? It's feared. It's now one of the hardest places to go and get even sometimes a point there. Do you know what I mean? So without even our mixed record up there, I'm not confident. If you talk to me right now, if you offer me a point, I'm taking that point all day long. I'm taking a point away from St James's Park, and then I'm hoping like Leicester do us a favour like 2 hours later against Forest. Do you know what I mean? Because the ultimate thing for me obviously would be to win, because we got Man United up next, and they'll play the kids because they're going to be in a Europa League final. So the ultimate game that's the ultimate dream, to beat you guys, to beat Forest, to beat Man United, and then literally the Forest game to us doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it literally doesn't mean anything to us. This game Sunday is literally, I think whoever wins this game is probably 99.9% nailed on for Champions League football next season. And I tell you what, guys, before even our game Sunday, I'm watching that Bournemouth Villa game the night before. I'm watching that game because everyone keeps forgetting about Villa. They're only 3 points behind us, and then they've got like their 2 games are Spurs and Man United. The last 2 games, you know what I mean. So it's not like I've been bought, and we're lucky. We're quite fortunate. Our teams are quite fortunate. Bournemouth have now picked up a bit of form, and now possibly playing for an 8th place European finish or something like that. So. But going back to the game on Sunday, no way am I confident, man. No chance. We're in a good run of form, but nah. If you offer me the scummiest 1-0 win away, if you offer me that, I will take that. Own goal settings, I don't care. No shots on target. I don't care. I don't care. Controversy in our favour. I do not care. Get away from St James's Park with not a defeat, and yeah, we go into that. We go into that Man United game with a lot of confidence to get us nearly there for the Champions League.
Chris, interesting thoughts from Andrew there with regards to Chelsea. Charlie's confidence earlier on in the week was there after the win against Liverpool, but he also recognised the same, that St James's Park is a really tough place to go. I'll ask you the question. I know we've talked about it before, but is a point enough for you from a Newcastle perspective? Would you take a point on Sunday, knowing that we're at St James's Park? Is it an essential must-win game for Newcastle United from your view?
Do you know what? My stance has changed a little bit on it since the Brighton game.
Okay.
I said that if we beat Brighton, this game would be do not lose. Obviously, we didn't lose to Brighton, so we picked up a point, which I still think was a good point. But it does increase the emphasis on us winning this game. And do you know what? Listening to Andrew, then he made a really good point, which I hadn't really considered. Chelsea winning obviously would be a catastrophe for us, but also it would set them up nicely for the last game of the season against Forest, because if they were then to go and beat Man United and then the last game against Nottingham Forest means nothing, you would then assume that Forest would then be in pole position to get the other position, because even if we beat Arsenal and even if we beat Everton, you would think that there's a possibility that Forest could pick up 7 points, for example, and that would be enough for them. Because they do have that game against West Ham, don't they? Wedged in between Leicester and the last game against Chelsea.
Yeah.
So it all of a sudden, if we don't win this game this weekend, or let's say we lose the game this weekend, it's no longer in our hands. And as of now, Pete, you mentioned it on the last show, the advantage that we've got, and we did try and say it on Top Table Talk, but Wolfie wasn't really having it. Advantage is firmly with us. We are in pole position. And it does all go on this game at the weekend. I'm still confident because I believe in what we're capable of, and the fact that we're at home, I think, is a huge significance. If it was at Stamford Bridge, I think I'd feel a little bit different. But the fact that it's at St James's Park, I'm confident. I think the lads will get the job done. And yeah, you're right. If we were to get the 3 points, it's literally one foot in the Champions League positions, isn't it? Because then everyone else has to do other things. But again, to pinch what Andrew said, we do have to keep an eye on Villa as well. We're all expecting Villa not to beat Bournemouth. I am personally. I think the Bournemouth game will be very difficult for them. But if they go and beat Bournemouth, everyone all of a sudden will sit up and go, "Ooh, okay, we might have a problem here."
You'd have to, and that puts pressure on both of us to win that game, because we'd only be they'd be level on points with both of us. Essentially, they've got an inferior goal difference. But I'm just saying, if we beat you Sunday and then beat Manchester United, and this can sound mad because it's the Conference League, but the Conference League for us is like the 28th, so we could rotate against Forest because we might not need to win anything. We might not need to do anything. That's the skit. That's the maddest thing I've said this season. That probably won't happen because it's very short odds that will be not short percentage, small percentage will beat you guys on Sunday. But that's a mad sentence to say like a month ago. If I'd said that sentence, that we'd like there's an opportunity to get this done before the end game of the season and rest players, and that's the mad thing. But it's like everyone automatically assumes Forest will beat Leicester. That's a derby. Yeah. That is a derby. Do you know what I mean? And Leicester, that's Jamie Vardy's last Trent derby, essentially. Do you know what I mean? It's like he would love to imagine him doing the old, one of those celebrations at the City ground. You know what I mean? And then West Ham are poor, but West Ham stinks so much that they'll just drag a draw out of you. Do you know what I mean? They just stink. Do you know what I mean? They just stink.
Well, go on. Sorry, go on. Carry on.
No. I'm just saying it's like, and then with us, like the game that could win is ours because we might not need to actually do anything in that one, but it might not matter. And you guys, even if you draw, you're going to Arsenal. You have no idea what Arsenal's mind frame is right now for the end of the season. They're literally playing. That's the thing, though. If everyone's say one of us wins on Sunday, Arsenal go to Liverpool and lose. That only puts us like a point behind Arsenal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We actually said that, didn't we, Chris, earlier on in the week? Like we were talking about it, and we said whoever wins out of us is 1 point behind Arsenal. And as you mentioned, Andrew, that they go to Anfield, and look, let's be honest.
We play Arsenal next game.
Yeah, you could if you beat us and then beat Arsenal, you'd go like 2 points ahead of them. If we beat you and then beat Man United, because we play like on the Friday, we'd be ahead of them by 2 points in 48 hours, and they have to go against you, and they hardly have any shots against you. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, what is the mindset? They could like, honestly, you don't know who. And then you've got like Everton. Everton's a weird one to like play against sometimes. Even at home, they're very like stubborn. But yeah, I mean, this game really is. That's why I'm like so mad about the kickoff time. It's like 12. It should be like at the 4:30 one. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, great. Liverpool lifting the trophy. It's a nothing game. Do you know what I mean? Just put them at 2 o'clock and something like that. This should be prime time, you know. But yeah, it's a big could be a massive weekend in determining the Champions League race. Massive.
Totally.
This is the primary game of that Sunday. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
The TV companies should be looking at, okay, what's still being fought for.
Exactly.
I mean, Liverpool, they finished the last game of the season at home. Is that right? Or
they do. Yeah, they do.
So, like you said, it's not even like they're going to be lifting the trophy. It's just another game for them. And albeit it's for Arsenal, but Arsenal got nothing to play for now, having been knocked out of the Champions League. So they're in a position where it really doesn't matter to either team. This should have been the game. So you're right. You're right. And it's one of those things where it's going to be really interesting how the players, the fans of both clubs react to it being an early kickoff, because it is early, midday, not ideal on a Sunday. But one of the things I will say is that, you know, you have improved. You've mentioned it a second ago. One of the players that has been really talked about from a Chelsea perspective a lot at the moment is Lavia. So Lavia has come back in the team. Just how important has he been from what you've been watching of Chelsea in recent games to him coming back into the starting lineup and then seeing the performances rise? What is he doing to elevate your team to put in much better performances?
Doesn't give away the ball. Sunday, he never gave away the ball at all. Anything Sunday, never gave away the ball. No missed passes, anything like that. Press resistant, you know, get you out of a cinch. That pass to Palmer for the first goal, and then Palmer passed his thing. I mean, that's just, you know, I mean, Liverpool fans will say, "Oh, we played a rotated team," but you played your 4 world-class players against us, and Gakpo, and if he was fit all the time, that's your starting striker in Jota, right? So, yeah, I mean, and it's just he is just different. Do you know what I mean? He's just got that calming influence. You know, you can see it. I mean, Enzo Fernandez has been great this season, but he's had to do like a full all the time, like back, like basically up and down. I think he's up there for like covering the most distance in the Premier League this season, and that's Enzo Fernandez. But you can see when Lavia's in there, allows Caicedo to invert from right back and stuff like that. You can tell it's just everyone. I think it's just a calmness. I think that's what he brings, and that's very rare for like a 21-year-old to have that over other players. You know, that influence over other players, or that confidence from other players that will give him the ball. I mean, even from like the defenders, you can tell like we're not going to get the ball's not going to get passed back so much. You know what I mean? We're not going to be rushed. This guy's going to try and do something. Although, like the second half when he collided with Van Dijk and he's limping, I thought, of course, the curse. He's back for a couple of games. He's going to be out for months. But no, I think he's. You can tell. I think if we had him just for half the games he was missing, I think we would have collected more points. Yeah. You know, I'm not saying not like he's going to score, but just the effect that he has on other players, and they're willing to do the position, because you could see it. Even like Palmer, the last few games has started to pick up, you know, about positions he's in and everything like that. And yeah, it was just a very very good performance. And you can just yeah, I just saw the private. Yeah, loads of damn. I wanted to see the full 11. But yeah, you can just tell he's just getting him up to speed, and it'll be a big that midfield battle is going to be fascinating Sunday. That's where the battle is on Sunday. Now that midfield is Joe Linton still out? Is he?
Yeah,
because because I got to tell you right now, I know you lost to us, but I thought he was magnificent against us away. He was the one that drove you. You really should have actually taken at least a point away, because that last minute Isak decision where he didn't pass it. No. he could have just passed it across the box. I don't even know what he was doing. But yeah, Joe Linton's a big boy miss. But that's gonna be a fascinating battle on Sunday. But yeah, he's very, very good. And if we can keep him fitter than he has been, he's going to be a big plus going into the last few games and going into next season as well. So he's very, very good.
Yeah, definitely. And Joe Linton's going to be a big miss. Would have liked to seen them, Lavia and Joe Linton, battling it in the middle of the pitch. That's what you want to see, is the best players fighting out together. But it is going to be a hell of a battle. Chris, I know you've got an update for Andrew with regards to the lineup.
Yeah, I thought to bring it up for him. There you go, Andrew. There's your lineup for this evening, mate.
Yeah, Cucurella, damn. Okay, well, just I don't even know who frigging Walsh is. Obviously, if someone's 81, you know what I mean, in football. Yeah, that's Jackson.
Unless they play in Italy. Unless
they're playing in Italy or something. It's like, that bench is the bench is stacked, but I don't want to see any of those big names off the bench come off. That they shouldn't need to. We shouldn't need to. We should use the guys you don't even know who their names are. Maybe put a Chalobah on there or something like that. But we shouldn't need to bring anyone off that bench with a recognised name. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't. Even if we're losing like 2-1 or something, I don't. We shouldn't need to do that. Yeah, plenty of rotation. Yeah. There was going to be plenty of rotation, especially when you're 4-1 up from the first leg. There has to be. Do you know what I mean? That game's a big turnaround. It's less than, it's about 2.5 days, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So,
is it a surprise to you, Andrew, that Cucurella is starting?
Yes and no. There's no real other recognised left back at the club. I'm just hoping like we get a couple of goals up by half time and he takes him off. Do you know what I mean? That'd be my wish to take him off and then like put one of put like a Reece James at left back and put someone in, put Achimpong on or something like that. No, Achimpong's not even in the team. Oh, there he is. Yeah, but put Gusto at left back for the rest of the half and stuff. That's what I would hope. I just, like I said, just get. It really is a nuisance, this game, for me now. It's just an inconvenience, this game. It's like. It's done now. That's one of the things I did love about the COVID Champions League was that it was just one leg in the knockout stages. They just went through. I just think they just did it here. But yeah, it's just get it done. Hopefully no one's injured. We can then concentrate on Newcastle for a massive, huge, biggest game of the season so far. By far.
Would anyone take that semi-final at a neutral ground, just one game, or would you stick to the 2 legs?
I don't know. They do it for the FA Cup, don't they? That's the fun with the FA Cup. It's neutral ground at Wembley. You know what I mean?
What do you think, Chris? Would you have that rather than the 2 legs, having it just one game at a neutral ground, winner take all, in a semi-final?
I don't know, because I like the scenes we saw yesterday, with the Paris Saint-Germain ultras, and then obviously
I'm just looking at it for this competition, not the Champions League, just for this competition.
Yeah, for this competition, because obviously
I would just have it like straight knockout. I would have it like the old UEFA Cup thing where it was just a knockout from round 1. Just go like that. No, you're right though. One of the changes I have to admit I like now, which I didn't like before, was when they got rid of the away goals, because now teams are not defending that much. You know what I mean?
True.
because we wouldn't have seen that Inter Barcelona. We wouldn't have seen those 2 legs before.
No.
Inter would have gone like for an away goal, shot 1-0. Barca try and do something. We've seen it before, the classic Mourinho style. We wouldn't, but now that when you go 1-0 down, or when we're away team scores now in the Champions League, it's not like doom and gloom anymore.
No,
you know what I mean. It's not like we have to score 2 to win. Well, no, we have to definitely score the next leg.
It was so hard, wasn't it? Because you know, if you're supporting or you're watching a home team and they're 2-0 up, everything's rosy, and then all of a sudden the away team scores. In the past, everyone would go. And even though I used to, explain to my wife, and I'd be like, "Oh, it's away goal," and she'd be like, "Yeah, but they're losing," and I'd be like, "No, but that goal is like a goal and a bit." And she was like, "What are you talking about?" And it's like, "No, it depends on the away goal."
Essentially, you have to go. Essentially, okay, so they don't show it, but essentially counts as 2. So But we suffered from that twice. Against Barcelona in 2009, we were 1-0 up, and then Iniesta scores. And then actually away at Anfield the year before, we were rubbish and 1-0 down, and then John Larissa scores an own goal right at the end, right at the cop end, to make it 1-1 in the first leg. And then we go back to Stamford Bridge and beat them 4-3. So have it happened like that before. It's just it does bring jeopardy, but like it's just one of those things. For this competition, definitely have 1 leg. Actually, I hope to never be in this competition again. I got to tell you right now. I don't even know who. I can't remember the name of who we're playing tonight. I'm serious when I mean that. I literally cannot remember. I didn't get invested in the Europa League until the semi-final second leg stage. And then we won it.
You definitely told me that before.
Yeah.
I remember
And that's not. It's just it doesn't. Because I know I said, first night football, that was a joke, but first night football for me is just like wrong. Unless it's like a league match or something, I just like that. Because that means we're like playing on Sunday. We're not on telly or in the UK or something. Do you know what I mean? We're like have to like find one of our links somewhere. And it's just it's rubbish. It's like a punishment.
Yeah. No, I hear it, and I know you've said it.
Oh, is that who they're called? I knew they were Garden something. Yeah, it was all Garden something.
Something Garden.
We'll kind of move on to another section in a minute, but I know you had a comment up here, and as we were talking about the race for top 5, you mentioned about Villa as well. 2 things. One, Tielemans is now pretty much ruled out. Season. That was mentioned earlier on today, but of course we still don't know the effects of Murillo at Forest, because he went off with a hamstring injury.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So obviously we've lost Joe Linton and you've had players missing as well. So with all our players missing, but at this point in the season, Tielemans, Murillo, lads, they're probably like 2 of their most key.
If you watch that game, after Murillo went off, they were rubbish in defence. They were rubbish in defence. Palace should have won that game. They should have won that game, Palace. They had the better chances. They couldn't finish, but defensively, Forest collapsed. They literally collapsed, which tells me why they've got a great partnership. Murillo is the glue of that partnership. He's like the Gabriel of that when Arsenal. You can say it, can't you? Partnerships are fine, but there's like without the partner, it's not now one defender. It's not like a Van Dijk situation at Liverpool. For other clubs, it's like a partnership, and that partnership is broken. Yeah, you're right. I haven't heard anything actually. That's Monday night. I haven't heard anything pop up. I don't know if obviously Wolfie might know, but I don't know. I haven't seen him like on any show say anything.
He might be trying to keep it quiet. They
thought it was a hamstring. They thought or something like that. Yeah.
And
even if it's not, even if it's like a slight twang, that's at least a couple of weeks minimum.
So he came off pretty much straight away.
Yes.
As soon as he did it, and he did it, just hit like trying to clear the ball. And when you do something like that and you pull up straight away, it tends to be that it is something. It tends to be more serious than what they tried to make out. So, Nuno mentioned that he was going for a scan. Now, Paul Carragher on the show thought he was kind of like he was putting it on and that he'd be fine and that he'd be in the team at the weekend, but I wasn't quite sure about that. But they're 2 big misses, and going back to that talk again, it's having those two big players missing. Tillemans is the key.
He's been playing very well recently. Tillemans
had a great season. Well. Yeah. You got Murillo in that situation. It's key to their defense, and you're right. You know, we said it as well. Is that when he went off, they started to concede chances. You just think to yourself, is it potentially turning in our direction in that we can get back into the team? We don't know.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. We've got a load of players coming back from injury, like a Lavia, like a Jackson, etc.
Yeah,
Madueke, they're all coming back. Do you know what I mean? To the business end of the season, and that's just people forget. You know, Forest that FA Cup run, there wasn't nearly every round went to extra time or penalties nearly in every one of their games. It was ridiculous. They went all those early rounds, and then they put their heart and soul into that semi-final. They're very unlucky not to even take that to extra time, and then that Brentford game, that was a sucker punch. Brentford did to Forest what Forest had done to everyone else this season, and they couldn't handle it. And then, like you say, I thought they actually played okay against Palace until obviously Murillo went off, and then they just fell to pieces. But the problem with Forest is Chris Wood doesn't score. Who else scores? They got no one else. They got I think you've got to Hudson-Odoi, whatever you think of him, is also out injured. They can't get him fit as well. And Anger's not a free scoring winger. Gibbs White's not a free scoring playmaker.
Elliot Anderson isn't.
Elliot Anderson isn't. That's what I mean. They're not bit. Did they play wing back? I can't remember. But whatever it is, they've got no their fullbacks aren't bombing up and stuff like that. And yeah, it's without Chris Wood, it's nothing's clicking. I mean, look, they've lost 3 out of the last 4. You know, like I said, even the goal against Palace was a huge deflection, right? So it wasn't So and like I said, they should have definitely lost that game. But that's a derby on Sunday against Leicester. That shouldn't be written off. That I'm not even saying Leicester are going to win. They could get a draw.
We'd all take it as well.
Well, yeah. Of
course we would.
Even if Villa were to lose or draw against Bournemouth, and then Forest were to draw or lose against Leicester, it just takes the emphasis a little bit more off our fixture. Of course,
even if we draw, it's we both then win our next games. You against Arsenal, against United, before they even play. I think they go we go 5 points ahead of them. Yeah,
pressure's on. I think West Ham away is difficult, Andrew, for them. I maintain that's a difficult game.
West Ham can get a stinky 1-1 draw. They can get a stinky 1-1 draw.
Yeah. Especially without Murillo. If he's not fit, you can guarantee that a Bowen or a Paqueta or a Kudus will turn up for just that one game. They'll just have one good game.
Definitely. Last home game of this. I think it's the last home game of the season for West Ham as well, right? Potter wants to sign off with a win for the fans because they're not happy, disgruntled. Sign off, get that win. Yeah, or even a draw. Just don't lose. Like I said, they are favourites for the Leicester game. They should be. They're at home. They are favourites. But a month ago, and this is really Wolfie because he's the only Forest fan we know, guys. Let's just face it. He's the only Forest fan. It was all talk about. Remember, it was all talk about catching Arsenal 6 weeks ago. Do you know that? And it's bro, these guys, you've not been here before. Do you know what I mean? Even a running for a Champions League place, you've not been here before. Your guys do not know what's happening. You hardly. I don't think Forest hardly rotate as well.
And the key thing for me as well, Andrew, is it's not just if you were talking about Forest 2 months ago, you'd be looking at these games as Wolfie rightly did, win.
Yeah,
but Forest aren't playing well.
No.
So even though it's against the Leicester, even though it's against the West Ham, even though it's against the Chelsea, they're not playing well. So regardless of who they play, they've not looked their free-flowing self. And you're right about Chris Wood. If Chris Wood doesn't bang the goals in, you're looking around and you're going, well, who's going to score?
Yeah, exactly. Who's going to score? Murillo might be out. Do you know what I mean? It's that I don't even know who their backup defender is because, like I said, it's been
Morata.
him.
Morata.
Oh,
Wolfie
okay.
says Morata is better than Mavillo.
What?
But that was Wolfie that said that.
Oh, okay.
Because do you remember when we were talking, Pete? We were talking about Mavillo, and he was going, "I wouldn't mind if we sold Mavillo. We've got this player called Morata," and he was saying he's going to be better than Mavillo.
Well, someone's just
Not
put in
from
the
what
chat
I've
right
seen.
now. Would one go in 8 matches? Last 8 matches. Would one go in 8? One go in 8. One go in
Not
8.
good. That's Chris Wood form. That's Chris Wood that we
Yeah.
had.
Newcastle.
Yeah, that was the same at Burnley. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's just had a phenomenal. He's had like a Solanke season at Bournemouth last year. Do you know what I mean? It's like that one season where he just everything he hits turns to goals. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's why it's like it's finally poised. It's a massive weekend. Yes, yes. But that's why I'm glad. That's why everyone should be glad they're now back in form for that Villa game. They're now back in form, and like with how European places are and who could win what, 8th can't be ruled out as a European place in the league. Even the Conference League.
So if Man City beat Palace, I think 8th does qualify for
they have to chance it. Do you know what I mean? They have to try and get it. You know,
absolutely. But as we said, it's one of those things where it can go any way, and it wasn't long ago that Forest were dead certs for top 3, let alone sort of top 5. It was Bournemouth who were flying in February, and when we looked at the end of February into March and April, had the better fixtures of everyone else, and look what happened to them. It can happen so quickly and so easily. I didn't think we'd be in the top 5 race going back a couple of months ago. I thought we could challenge it, but I thought with the losses against Fulham and Bournemouth, it kind of put us in that situation where we couldn't be there. And we're now in that position. So it can change very, very quickly. But I think
that was the same with me after the Ipswich draw. I thought, not with the run of fixtures. Not happening. Do you know what I mean? It's like we're going to drop more points here and there. That's what makes me I'm still mad at that Ipswich game, because those 2 extra points. If we had those 2 extra points right now, Lord of mercy. You know what I mean? I'd be definitely like going, get the draw at Newcastle. I'm fine. Keep them at the distance. We're fine. Do you know what I mean? Keep them at a distance. It's all good. We're fine. But that's what makes me so mad at that Ipswich game. That I'm going,
so frustrating, mate. You can
it's
probably
so
make loads going back.
Yeah, it's like it's just so like it was there, because that's when I went, it's not in our hands anymore. Because before that, it was all in our hands. Even though we were still in around, it was all in our hands. We've got it slightly back in our hands now, but it's like that's so mad. It's even if we had those 2 extra points, and even if we lost we're still in a good position. Well, because you'd only be like a point ahead if you beat us. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's just so maddening, this team.
Chris, we had I think it was in November, the 2 games back to back. The one at home to West Ham, where West Ham were like their manager was going to get sacked, Lopetegui was going to get sacked to beat them, and we would lose 2-0, and we were absolutely shocking. But they weren't great either. And then that one, the weekend after, 1-0 up at Palace, and they score with like 20 seconds in the game and equalise. You think those points there actually secure us Champions League football. Just those 2 games in isolation, like they guarantee it. Like we're both not having this conversation, worried about Champions League.
We're approaching this game going, you know what? We're approaching this game with like going, yeah, we could lose, could draw. You know what I mean? That's fine, because we've got 3 other games afterwards. But now it's like, no. One of us wins, we put the other one under serious pressure, and we alleviate so much pressure on ourselves, especially with our game coming up next.
I'm going to put the tactics board on the screen, because I want to get your prediction of what you think the team's going to be. Obviously, there've been lots of changes from your perspective for tonight's game, Andrew. So, how do you see it? How do you see it setting up, and who do you think's going to be playing?
I think, barring any injuries, I think he will set up exactly how he did against Liverpool. I think he will. So he'll have Sanchez in goal.
Yeah.
He'll have Cucurella left back.
There we
go. He'll have Colwell and Chalobah as the centre backs.
Colwell on the left, Chalobah on the right, I assume.
Yeah, and I think he'll start. I think he'll start with Caicedo as an inverting right back. I think he'll start that, or Caicedo will play right back, whatever it is. Yeah. Then he'll have.
Not the first time he's played right back against us. He used to do it against Brighton as well.
Yeah. He won our he won our Player of the Year and the Fans Player of the Year this year. He was by far our best, most consistent player throughout the season. He's phenomenal. For me, he's a combination of Essien and Kante. If I'm going to be, that's how much I rate this guy. He is.
Wow.
He is that. He's got Kante's just his agility and stuff, prime Kante's agility and stuff, like just run up and down the pitch, and then he's got Essien's strength and the occasional blasting of a goal. Midfield 2, or it would look like midfield 2, but it'll be Lavia and Enzo Fernandez. Okay. Or 3, whatever you want to put, 2 or 3, but there'll be Lavia and Enzo and Palmer will be in there somewhere. In the 10. They'll say he'll play the 10, but it'll be all over the place. Yeah. Left will be Madueke.
Yeah. There he is.
Right will be Neto, who's really played well the second half of the season. He has. If he had a striker in the box, his crosses probably get met more. And Jackson will start up front. Jackson will start up front. So they'll be the same team who started against Liverpool. Obviously, it'll be a much tougher game because of the circumstances, and Liverpool didn't really need to play that much against us. But yeah, that'll be that for me. That I'm predicting that to be the starting lineup.
Interesting, Chris. Very, very interesting. Good side there. Good side to put out. What are we going to do to match them? What's the squad? What do you think we're going for?
Well, Pete, I pride myself on getting the lineup right. I was very annoyed with myself last week because I let my head rule my heart. My heart was saying it probably will be Willock, but my head was going, it should be Miley. It should be Miley. And I was like, no, Eddie's going to go Miley. He's going to see it the way I see it, and he didn't. So I'm gonna go with my. I'm gonna go with my head again.
Okay.
Because, and I'm hoping you agree with me, Pete, but correct me if you think I'm wrong, and we'll go from there. But I feel like this is the lineup he should, and I think he will play. So let's see. So I'm going to say Nick Pope in goal.
Okay.
I'm going to say Tino Livramento left back.
Yeah.
Kieran Trippier right back.
Trips.
Are you ready for this, Pete?
Go on then.
I'm going to say Big Dan Burn.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say Sven Bottom.
Ooh.
I think this physical challenge against Jackson, and let's not forget as well, I haven't heard or read anything about Shah, but Shah came off last week, didn't he? And I just wonder whether this is an opportunity to throw Sven in there. So I'm going to stick with that anyway. I'm going to stick with that.
Okay.
Holding midfield will be Sandro.
Where is it? There he is. Good old Sandro.
Right centre mid will be Bruno. Left centre mid will be Joe Willock. I think it will be Joe Willock. Yeah. I think he needs now. He's put his faith in him. I think it's right, and he should see the rest of the season out if Joe Linton isn't back. So I think that's the right move. Now the front three is interesting, Pete.
I was going to say it is an interesting one.
I have agonised over this. So I'm going to say Alexander Isak through the middle.
the easy decision.
The pause. Yeah. I'm going to say Anthony Gordon, left wing.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to say Harvey Barnes, right wing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I feel a bit sorry for Jacob Murphy, but on the other hand, Jacob Murphy's had an outstanding season. No mistake about it. But Gordon, yes, Craig Lee's just put it in there. Gordon has to start, and if Gordon's starting, Gordon has to start left wing, in my opinion. And unfortunately, that means that Harvey Barnes makes way. But for me, Harvey Barnes has to start. I don't want to see Harvey Barnes on the bench. So unfortunately, that means that Jacob Murphy misses out and Harvey Barnes goes on to the right. Now, the other option that was in my head, and I'm not trying to cover all bases here, people, the other option in my head was obviously Jacob Murphy on the right and Harvey Barnes on the left. But I do believe Gordon will start. And obviously, you know, the big one that stands out is Fabian Schär instead of Sven Botman. But I just have a feeling that Sven Botman will start. But what do you think, Pete? How far off do you think I am there, mate?
Yeah, I don't think you're too far off. I think it's a big call with Botman coming in.
Yeah,
I think it's a massive call. Whether I can see that call definitely being made against Arsenal. Maybe even going 3 at the back against Arsenal. Because we know that works, and they can't get through, as it's proven this season when we played against them. We've played that way. Yeah, I think that but I'm not against it. You know, Botman coming in, you know how I feel about Sven Botman. He's our best centre back. So if he comes in, him and Byrne have been colossal together. I go back to the Tottenham game. I believe the Arsenal game as well in the Carabao Cup, the first leg. I thought they were excellent too. So yeah, I'm not against that whatsoever. The rest of the team, I agree with Joe Willock. I think he is now going to be given a run, whether fans want it or not, till the end of the season. And, you know, it's up to him. He's got to perform. This is probably his biggest game of the season. He's got to put a performance in. And yeah, you know what? Those wingers, you know what? It's such a tough decision. It's really, really hard.
It is.
And I don't envy Eddie Howe for having to make that decision. The one thing that keeps, because I think you and Daz asked me on Sunday about what I would do.
Yeah, we spoke about it, didn't we?
And I kind of thought it would be the same with Barnes and Murphy, with Gordon coming off the bench. The reason being is because I don't think Murphy's as big as an impact as either Barnes or Gordon coming off the bench. I think, but either one of them have the ability to change the game, whereas I'm not quite sure Murphy has that same ability to do so. But I think Murphy's good at starting a game and having an influence.
Pete, you may not see this. I'm putting this on because it's a really good comment from Luke M, and he's basically saying exactly what you're saying, which is why I'm saying it. Luke M says, not disagreeing with the lineup, but just a talking point. But doesn't Gordon offer more than Murphy off the bench? Murphy is less likely to change the game, whereas, like we seen last week, Gordon will. Now, there's a really good point, that, Luke. Carry on, Pete.
Yeah, no, and like I said this is what I said to you boys on Sunday, that for that reason, this is why I think Murphy will start. But I cannot see. I'm fine as we're getting nearer to the game. I cannot see a way in which they can possibly, especially at St. James's Park, keep Gordon out the team.
It's hard, isn't it? It's really hard.
It's really hard.
Especially after the cameo piece, because he come on. He looked good in other cameos, but last week he looked electric. He looked like he had a point to prove, and it was almost like, you've got to start me next game. You've got to start me next game. That was the vibe off that sub-performance.
100%. So it's really, really difficult. But look, we'll keep it with that, Gordon and Barnes, because I'm not against it at all. And Barnes actually played all right when he played on the right. He caused a few problems down that side. So, yeah, but it's a really difficult one. It's a really, really difficult one. You know, David Telfer was mentioned about Murphy starting to protect Trippier. I don't think Trippier needs protecting, but having that balance down that side of a defensive nature is not a bad thing. So I get that as well. But there's eventualities on all of those situations. You know,
Pete,
go on.
Do you see the possibility that Gordon comes in for Barnes and that Murphy starts on the right? Or do you think he wouldn't drop Harvey Barnes? Because that really is, thanks very much for all your work, Harvey, the main man's back now. Do you see that? Or
I think it'd be really harsh on Barnes because he has actually played well and he was one of the better players against Brighton. So it'd be really harsh to drop him off the back of that. if I'm being honest with you, I see that happening more so next week against Arsenal. I've said it to you boys on Sunday. Like Gordon has to start against Arsenal. He has to, because he's got the beating of Arsenal. Arsenal are scared of him. He has the strengths and the qualities that they struggle to deal with. So he has to start. So if I'm going to drop Barnes, I'm dropping him against Arsenal, not Chelsea. But then, but Gordon also equally has good games, particularly at St. James's Park against Chelsea too. So it's a really difficult one. Like
his first goal was against Chelsea, wasn't it?
Yeah, he scored. Yeah,
1-0.
Yeah.
Was it 1-0?
No, we won 4. Was it 4-1?
Or was it 4-1?
Was it 4-1? Yeah, at St. James's Park last season.
Yeah, and Gordon's goal was a bit scruffy, but he got on the end of it, didn't he? And he scored the last goal.
Always, we were linked to him. I think we were linked to him before you guys got him.
Yeah,
when did you sign him? January 23. I think you signed him, didn't you? Something like that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you were linked.
So, like,
23. You won it.
22. Sorry, yeah, and it was like, if our owners had actually gone in a year before, that's the type of player we would have signed, because he is phenomenal. And I was always like, people go, oh, he's like, I think we were quoted like 50, 60 million. And I was like, just pay it, because I think he's sensational. Even for Everton, he was sensational for Everton. It was just something about this kid, you know what I mean? And he's been brilliant for Newcastle. And, I always thought he should play more for England, but, that's just my preference. But he's an X factor. Even the game against Brighton last week, it was just different when he came on. Nearly got that penalty that was outside the box. But, it's like he's an X factor. Do you know what I mean? He's even like had to sacrifice, which it's going to sound weird because he's a right-footed player, but he's played on the right a lot this season as well, for you guys. And it's like, he's just something different. And I'm just thinking, I'm glad like Newcastle have got the owners now where they can just reject like big transfers from other clubs, so they don't have to sell their players like a Gordon, because I know he was linked to Liverpool in the summer. And it's like,
who would you prefer to see on the wings, Andrew? So from a Chelsea perspective, who do you not want to see in that front three? Obviously, Isaac, I'm sure you don't want to see, but which two wingers would you prefer to face when you're looking for the lineup?
It's weird because like Jacob Murphy's been in sensational form this season. It's like, and that's a weird thing to say, right? It's like I shouldn't be like Jacob Murphy shouldn't be at the top of your list. I don't want to see, even I know he had an off game the other day, but against Brian, but then Harvey Barnes, he's like got 7 GNA in the last like few games, and like Gordon's coming back, and it's like, I don't know. Cucurella has been very consistent and good this season. There's hardly been any like wingers that have given him any trouble this season, so I'm not too sure. I think,
you know what, lads,
I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I think you've got great options. So it's hard to really put. I can't go. Yeah, I definitely want him to. I mean, I prefer Joe Willock to be on the right wing if you're going to do what he did against Brighton. You know what I mean? If you're going to do that, then put Joe Willock on the left or wherever he played. You know what I mean? I'd prefer that. You know what I mean? That's what I'd want. But
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna go with. I think it's gonna be Gordon and Murphy. And I don't know why I've changed my mind, but I just think that he's gonna go with Gordon and Murphy on Sunday.
Yeah,
and that's just off the top of my head. Just listening to what you boys are saying, looking at the lineup there on the screen. I'm just thinking, I don't necessarily want Barnes starting on the right, nor would I want Gordon starting on the right. I'd rather Murphy start the game because I don't think he's as good as an impact player. So in my mind, I'm starting Murphy. But at the same time, I think the impact, if Gordon can come on and recreate what he did against Brighton, but from the start of the game, I think that Gordon should start off the back of that.
Yeah.
And because of the game so big, and he has a good connection with Isaac, as does Barnes, but in a different way. But I look at the situation, and Isaac hasn't really played well in game recently. And we need to find ways of connecting with Isak to get him more involved in the game because he hasn't been. Now, we know that Murphy provides the ammo. He provides the service. And we know that they have a good connection, particularly when there's high press. When there's high press, because this is what I saw from against Brighton, is that parts of the game, they went like this. So Gordon was doing the high pressing, and then Isak would then try to be there to sweep up as the second presser, because the first presser has to press a lot harder and a lot quicker than the second. And I think if we're managing Isak at the moment, he can be the second presser and do that job in that area and take advantage of those slots. And you'll see that transition. And they have that naturally. That's something that him and Barnes don't have yet. They have a different connection on the counter in a different way. And I think against Chelsea, I think that high press and pushing them back, I think that's where we're going to get a lot of our joy, particularly with the fans behind us, particularly at St. James's Park, and, you know, the game properly being up for it. Because then you're going to get Joe Willock is going to come in here and try and put out fires and using his pace. You got Sandro, and we know what he can do. And then Bruno will be the one trying to get on the board and make the connection. So I think that's looking at that team. I think that forward line is the best one for this particular game.
Yeah,
I would actually say for the next two. I'd probably say for the next two. The reason why it's so hard is because you kind of, in one sense, you kind of thinking, oh, you know, if Harvey Barnes wasn't playing so well, it'd be an easy decision. Gordon's in, nothing to think about. But it's actually a nice headache to have because you've got someone like Barnes that's playing well. You could bring him off the bench and you can impact him there. And, you know, who's to say that he's not annoyed that he's on the bench and he comes on and makes a difference? Like, there's that perspective too. But, you know, obviously from myself, Andrew, you got players in your team that can hurt opposition. Where do you do your most damage on the pitch? Looking at your lineup here, who and where?
I think with the inclusion of Lavia and Caicedo in there, it really gives Enzo Fernandez Enzo and Palmer more of a free role. We've seen Enzo. I think he's on like 20 GNA for the season. Enzo Fernandez, and that goal, especially that goal against Liverpool, the first one, where he was just sneaking in there, no one's tracking his run. That's something you can exploit. Palmer just giving the free roll around. Like you say, you got Neto, fascinating battle with Livramento on that your left side, our right side. But like I said, I think it'll be the midfield's key for this game. It's a battle really. It's whoever can control it, get the ball up to their forwards the quickest is probably going to be the one who does that the most. Probably going to be the ones who are the victors coming out of this game, or at least have the most chances. We're not the best defensively. We will always give chances up. And we got that clowning goal, so we're bound to give a chance up with that clowning goal. So
played well on Sunday though. Made some great saves on Sunday.
Whatever, you know.
But no, you're right. And I did say this to Charlie on Tuesday, is that you know, I'm looking at that Chelsea, and although you won 3-1 and you played really, really well, you did concede a number of chances. And Liverpool had they been on song, or had they, you know, not been on the beach, or whatever example you want to give, like if Liverpool had been on it, they could have really exploited Chelsea in those positions, and that's what filled me with hope. I don't know about you, Chris, but seeing that game and seeing Chelsea give up those sort of chances filled me with hope that if we could manufacture similar chances, I'm trusting the likes of Barnes, Gordon, Murphy, Isak to put them in the net and you know, punish you off the back of that. So that's my hope going into the game.
Yeah, I just answered the question in the chat. The Conference League finals on the 28th. So I think that's after the last game of the season. If I'm correct about that, because I think the last game's Bank Holiday weekend, isn't it? Something it's like the 25th. I think it's so. Yeah, so 25th. That's what I said earlier. If you haven't watched or you're watching it back, like I said to the guys, if we beat Newcastle and beat Man United, our game against you might end up being a beneficiary of it. So we might rotate a lot in that game. So it's like you should maybe want us to win this game or something like that, in a weird way. But it's we do give up. Like when that by the way, that Van Dijk goal was it was always coming, that Van Dijk. We didn't even mark him. It was so telegraphed he would score.
Are you like
I
that?
was actually the most impressed I was on Sunday was actually our reaction to them scoring. Because like last season our heads would have dropped. But I actually thought we played better. we played better than them after they scored. Yeah. You know what I mean? We were like, we took the ball. I mean, Palmer should that thing he did where he fooled Alisson and went, instead of like the pullback, he went for the post just before they scored. But yeah, I was more impressed with our reaction to that because previous seasons our heads would have, or we would have, you could tell the crowd got a bit nervous because they were going, "Come on, Chelsea, come on," like we usually do. But the guys seemed to really like go, "No, we're fine. We'll just." It was good, like 10 minutes left, I think, 10, 12 minutes left of that game with injury time. So I was very impressed with that. But it's a totally different game and atmosphere Sunday. You can't replicate the atmosphere and just the both teams going for it Sunday. It's that Liverpool game and the Newcastle game might as well be in different universes for what it is. It's not even the same. You know, it's going to be totally different. So it's going to be another test for these youngish players and the manager himself on Sunday.
A couple of questions before we get to predictions, lads. Just one for you from us, really. We've been linked with Josh Acheampong, I'm pronouncing his name right, in recent days.
Really?
Yeah, can you tell us a bit about him? He's obviously starting and playing tonight. You know, he can play right back. He can play centre back as well. He's a young lad. I know he's recently signed a contract, but you know, what type of player is he? Like, how good is he?
He technically looks very good. He's got a thin frame, but you don't let that fool you. Sort of, do you know what I mean? Very strong, very good passer. Doesn't really panic that much. Got good pace to him. Good tackler. From what I've seen of him, it's a case of this season with James's injuries and Gusto's out of his form. When he's played, he's not looked out of place. That's my biggest compliment to him. We don't feel like panicked when he's on the ball in defence. That's a big compliment to him, to Josh. I don't see us selling him. It might be a loan thing, maybe next season, especially if we are successful in signing like a Dean Howson and maybe a Mark Gurley or something like that, or someone else to come in. But yeah, he looks very, very good, very accomplished so far.
Interesting. Good to know from that perspective. It could come to nothing, but it's good to know a little bit about him as well. Absolutely. Any other questions? I think there might be a couple.
Yeah.
Predictions.
Yeah, there is, mate. Let's see. A couple of comments anyway. David Tofield, I like this. Biggest fear for us is Bruno winning the bloody toss. We have a thing, Andrew, where we want to win the toss so that we can kick the right way first half.
Yeah.
So hopefully Bruno will win the toss, but we'll
kick the Gallagate, and
yeah. We want the Gallagate in the second half.
It's I always think of it. It's like I always equate it to the cop. It's like every team's got a cop. For us, it'd be the Matthew Harding stand. On telly, it's the goal that's on the right hand side if you're looking at it. So it's the one where you guys scored in the first half against us. That's our sort of thing. You know, I can't really tell. I don't know what it is for Arsenal and Spurs because that's just a circle, so you can't really tell what end they like to kick at. Do you know what I mean? It's soulless. I can understand whether you lot or even like City really can't really tell, but yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, you want that end. Yeah, I didn't know that.
yeah, we always try. And there's only a cheer now, isn't there, Pete, when he wins?
He hasn't won many. He hasn't won many this season at St James's
No.
Park. That's why there's a little bit of nervousness because when we win the toss and we're shooting the way we want to, we normally do sort of do the business. But teams, I think, have caught on to it now, so they're trying to purposefully turn us around. We've got used to losing and adjusting, but for this game, we want to definitely be winning the toss.
Yeah,
100%.
100%. Yeah. Frieden says we will press Sanchez to make a mistake for sure. So that kind of feeds into the Gordon argument, doesn't it, Pete? What you were talking about before with Gordon. Gordon, obviously, high press player, but also it may ease Isak off a little bit in terms of Gordon. And Gordon's going to be fresh, isn't he? Gordon is going to be fresh. He's ready. He's ready to start now. He's had a few cameo appearances, so he can literally run himself into the ground, even if it's for 60, 70 minutes, and then bring on, a Barnes or a Murphy, depending on whoever's on the bench.
All respect to Frieden 81. I don't think you have to press Sanchez for him to make a mistake, in my opinion.
Is that a big worry for you then?
Hoof it. I don't care about him passing stats out from the back. Just hoof it. I don't care if it goes out even for throw-ins, just hoof it. I don't care. Just hoof out the ball. I'm not into this passing out from the back nonsense. You know what I mean? He's not. He's very average at it as well. In terms of, he's not like a Neuer or something like that, or even an average goalkeeper. But yeah, I just hoof it. I'm not into this.
Yeah. Particularly when you've got confidence.
Yeah.
We will press, that's for sure. And to be fair, we've got our own sort of similar issues with Pope because he's not the best with the ball of his feet. However, I will say that he has been better with his distribution, turning to his hands. He's been doing a lot of it with his hands now rather than his feet, and his throwing distribution is actually pretty good. So
yeah, it is.
He's been there. I think that's been one of the biggest turnarounds for Pope is that he has, rather than doing it with his feet, he's now doing it with his hands instead. So I think he seems like he's in more control of it. It's good. Yeah, it's coming interesting. Good point there.
Yeah, definitely. This is a good one, and I did see this stat earlier. Actually, I'm just going to read it out there quick. Pete and Chris, did you know Isak has scored at least one goal against all of the current 19 Premier League clubs? Yeah, I quite enjoyed that. I saw that today. I thought that was a good stat because some players don't always manage that. So I quite like that. Obviously, next season he'll have to sort that out because he could be coming up against a Bristol or a Coventry or whoever it may be.
Leeds.
Leeds.
Does he score against Leeds? Does he play against Leeds? They're in there in 22-23. Did they go down? No, they weren't. I think they got relegated, didn't they?
The last time we played against Leeds, he was here because it was when we were getting Champions League football. All
right, okay. So they got relegated in 23.
But I think Callum Wilson played. I'm not sure if
Wilson was flying at that point, wasn't he?
Right, yeah.
Wilson started, and I'm not sure if Isak came off the bench.
I think he must have scored against Burnley last season.
Yeah,
surely, because he must have scored against him.
He missed the penalty at their place, but he scored like literally about a minute later.
Right. He scored against Sunderland, but not in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Oh, was it cup
and Sheffield United when we beat them 8-0.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
8 different scorers that day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, 8 different ones. Yeah. I think that's the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah. So no, that was good. But couple more. So the first one, I'll leave it on this one. So the first one is from Tom Dixon, and he asks you, Andrew, which players do you think are most likely to leave Chelsea in the summer?
Disasi, probably Badiashile. Nkunku.
You keeping Sancho?
That's a weird one because
it is.
There is an obligation, but it's not like an ironclad obligation as everyone's read.
Break it, can't you?
But even I've read loads of conspiracy theories that we'll sign him and then sell him on. Like we'll use him to get sign that Gittins kid from
Dortmund.
As part of it. And
Dortmund said apparently one of the Dortmund directors has said that they don't want Sancho back this summer.
No, but they've got Carney Chukwuemeka on loan. So that might factor in. But I don't know. Getting to me is just another project. So that's just a separate thing.
Yeah.
But who else? There'll be like the squad players. I think like Dewsbury Hall will be sold.
What's going on with Mudrick?
I know.
He passed his lie detector test, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
Lie detector. Yeah. You can cheat that. You know what I mean? There's stuff in it that you have to cheat it when you're breathing and stuff like that. You can see it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, but I don't. That's funny. That's the first time I thought of Mudrick. You just brought him up. Not thought about him for months. Seriously. That sounds harsh, but I've not thought about it for months. I think Chalobah will be sold as well. Yeah. I think Chalobah will be sold. That might factor into a Gurhey transfer. For it won't be we don't do swap deals because no club does that anymore because they want it on like off the book on the books thing now. Yeah. So it's like
so it's done at the same time, but it's two separate.
It would be a swap deal, but it'll be two different transactions.
Yeah.
Here's your money. Here's your money back, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's almost like because I saw it in the chat. I know that they've got you linked to Jacob Ramsey. As long as we don't go to Villa again and sign one of their youth team players instead of signing like John Duran, which we should have done in the summer. You know what I mean? But we'll, they're just selling players because they don't want to sell Morgan Rogers in the summer. That's what this is. Everyone they need Champions League football just to stave off the Wolves at the door because they're going to be another PSR. Remember, there's two transfer windows now in the Premier League. There's the PSR transfer window and there's the regular transfer window. So they're going to be looking like that, and you can smell the desperation on them now. And if you want him, you probably can get him at a cheap price. What do you guys think of Jacob Ramsey? We were
talking about this before you joined, Andrew. Yeah. Weirdly enough, we were talking about it.
I mean, for me as a Newcastle fan, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't be doing cartwheels. Do you know what I mean? It'd be like, okay, squad player at best. Do you know what I mean? We've got Joe Willock for that. Why do we need Jacob Ramsey?
Andrew, were you in the green room when we were talking about this? That's exactly what we said.
Unless you're getting rid of Willock, do you know what I mean? Unless you're selling Willock or something like that. What's the point? Do you know what I mean? It's like
he would be maybe a slight upgrade on Willock just because of his output. His output, I think, is slightly.
Yeah, but he doesn't take you forward into cementing Champions League football year upon year upon year upon year.
And this is the problem, is that I know a lot of Newcastle fans have responded to say, Jacob Ramsey, good player, and we're linked with him last January, not this January 2024. We're linked with him then, but his injury record's not great. He hasn't set the world alight when he has played for Aston Villa, and you got to think to yourself I said this to Chris, Chris, I think you feel exactly the same as well, is that if you're going in to take a player from Villa, you want to take a player that they don't necessarily want to let go.
Yeah.
And that comment there that Frida's put up about Ramsey not being happy and wanting to leave, it doesn't necessarily fill me with confidence. Like you say, that it doesn't set the world up. I think there are better players out there that we could pick out.
I know I'm just picking off two names, whether you guys be allowed to sign them, but you should be really Adam Wharton at Palace, Belieber at Brighton. Do you know what I mean? Those are two different start. Those players start. Do you know what I mean? Those players start for your clubs. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's the players that make your fans go, okay, we're serious now. We're getting these types of players. Yeah, totally. Do you know what I mean? That's the ones or whoever abroad, stuff like that makes you sit up and go, okay, that's the kind of transfer. Because even if you sign a Ramsey, if you sign one of those two players, you'd go, okay, well, Ramsey's squad player is fine, but we signed one of these two players, it's all good. Do you know what I mean? It takes the other signings that type of signing doesn't really matter. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of those. It's when it becomes that's one of the main signings, and you go, nah.
Yeah, and you know what, Andrew? It's a really good point you made because there'll be a lot of clubs who won't want to help out other clubs. If you go to Villa and you take Morgan Rogers, which Peter's mentioned, and we've spoken about Morgan Rogers loads of times, but you go and take a Morgan Rogers, or you go and take an Ollie Watkins, or you go and take an Emi Martinez, where you're basically helping Villa with the PSR, but you're also weakening their team. I think Villa would probably drive Jacob Ramsey to your club because they go, go ahead, have him, and it gets us out of a PSR hole.
Yeah.
And you want to take a player that hurts them. That's what you want to do. And Jacob Ramsey leaving, I don't think hurts them.
Well, that was like you guys last season with the Bruno Guimaraes links to, or the buyout clause links, you know what I mean, to City, but then you sold I can't remember his name, to Forest, you know what I mean, and Minter to Brighton to get you out. So it's like, and even the Isak thing, because Isak was linked to cover, it's like, no, we done that, and now that's what I mean. Yeah, so you could look at them and go, or even like Forest. I don't know what Forest situation is like now with this summer PSR, because I don't think we're in any trouble with it again like we were, so we'll be fine. But I think you guys are fine, right? This summer,
yeah.
So you guys are fine. So it's really only Villa, really. Yeah. One of the big clubs that are going to be into. That's what I mean. That's I'd go there and like I say, I don't want Jacob Ramsey. I want Morgan Rogers. Oh, I want Morgan Rogers. Morgan Rogers. That's what I want.
Boubacar Kamara.
Boubacar Kamara. Yeah.
They're the kind of players.
He's like that with the new contract. He hasn't signed it yet.
This is
even like you said, like even you might disagree, but even like with Nick Pope's situation, like Emi Martinez or something, that's an upgrade on Nick Pope. Do you know what I mean? It's like get it done. Do you know what I mean? See what the situation is there, or even like cheeky bid for Ollie Watkins. Do you know what I mean? Just like with let's face it, Callum Wilson's like, I don't know how he's still walking. Do you know what I mean? He's like, and he's always injured. I mean, he's like, you know what I mean? He's like his best friend's the physio, isn't it, at the Newcastle? Do you know what I mean? Unfortunately, it's it's like one of those. It's like Reece James at our club. Do you know what I mean? His best, you know, his most appearances are on the physio's bench. But it's like it's one of those. But yeah, I'd be going. That's why I never understood when we went there and signed like I can't remember Kellyman, whatever the hell his name is. Where it's like, why didn't you just stump up the 40 million for Duran right there and then? Could have got him. Could have got him. And even like when we did it to Leicester, it's like, why didn't you sign our new manager, the goalkeeper you worked with? No, you signed Keenan Dewsbury Hall for 35 million.
And this is why we were so hurt, Andrew, because not only did we lose Elliot Anderson, who we didn't want to lose, we then also bought Vlachodimos, who we didn't want. Yeah. So that was because of the position we were in, because Forest did to us what we want to do to someone else, because they were like,
it's like bribery.
You want to do the deal. That's who you haven't. And we had no choice.
It's like open bribery, isn't it? It's like it's like when we did it with like selling Gallagher to Atletico Madrid. It's like, no, you'll have to take flipping João Felix. That's what we should do. We should go to Morgan Drog. We should just drop João Felix off of them.
Yeah,
just
we want João Felix. Do you want João Felix?
We wanted.
He's worked with Emery, but Emery likes him, doesn't he? So
I think we wanted Elanga initially as part of the deal.
Oh, that's what, you were linked. Yeah, Elanga. Yeah.
Because they didn't want it.
But even let's face it. Even if you went for Elanga this summer, that's not one where the fans go, yeah, you know, because I think Elanga's okay. I think he's goodish as a squad player, as a squad option. Not and
it doesn't
Forest. This is going to sound like a diss, but Forest, yeah, fine. Do you know what I mean? But
it doesn't move the needle for me.
He doesn't move the needle. He's not had a better season than Jacob Murphy. He's not had a better, than Harvey Barnes.
I think if Elanga came in the summer, for example, having been linked with the likes of Mbeumo and a couple of other players, I think it'll be a little bit underwhelming for Newcastle fans if that was the case. Obviously, we'd still back him and get behind him like you would any other player, but it would be an underwhelming signing because of the things that you mentioned. Even when you mentioned him earlier on in the show, and you said, he's one of those players that's not necessarily not prolific in terms of goals. He'll put decent numbers together. I think he's got something like 14, 15 goal contributions, which is not too bad, to be fair. But you want someone that's going to be, who's going to guarantee you getting that every season. And for me, I want someone that's technically very, very good. And I don't always feel that way with Elanga. And Mbeumo's technical ability is top notch. Like when you get him, you know what you're getting from him. But look, I know we're coming towards. I know we're coming towards the end,
Excellent.
and I know you're so desperate, Andrew, to get.
I know.
Get to
Hurry up, guys! I've got like 7 minutes. You stop. I wanted this to end like 20 minutes ago, so I could prepare properly. Now I've got to rush around.
We've got one more question for you, and I've left this one.
Oh, just make it brief, please. There's so many questions.
It's an interesting one because I'm a bit on the fence over it, so I'm interested to hear your boys' thoughts. This comes from NFFC 2000s, obviously a big Forest fan, and thank you very much for tuning in, mate. Much appreciated. He says, anything but a draw is good for us, in my opinion. Now, do you share that opinion? So he's saying he doesn't want Newcastle and Chelsea to draw, but I'm looking at it and I'm thinking surely he would want one or the other to draw. And to me, it would make sense for him to surely want Chelsea to win because then, because then obviously the last game of the season, if Chelsea have secured it, it's more likely that you'll go a bit easy on them. But what do you boys think?
I see what he's saying. I see what they're saying. The reason why I think he doesn't want the draw is because a draw still means that Forest are fighting out with both of us. I think he wants one, or he or she, apologies. I think they want one team to win so they know that they're gone, and it pulls the other one.
It becomes a fifth place race essentially between like two clubs, maybe three if Villa get the win at Bournemouth and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I can see that. Maybe I agree with you, Chris. I think he'd want us to win because maybe he sees you still going to Arsenal and you don't like, maybe not like losing, but he's still like drawing or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And like that keeps him in there. But that all depends. He still has to. Nottingham Forest still have to do their job against Leicester and West Ham. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not out of the realms of possibility that they not lose both matches, but they draw both matches. It's not out of the realms of possibility that they do that.
They could finish seventh, couldn't they? Because Villa could finish above them.
Exactly.
As well.
Exactly. Remember, even if Villa lose at Bournemouth, the last two games are Spurs and Man United. They don't care. Especially Spurs. That game's on a Friday. It's been moved to Friday 5 days before. If Spurs go through, we had to say if because that game's still in doubt. Because even though it's 3-1, and remember that side beat Lazio 2-0 the other month. So and Lazio are a better team than Spurs, in my opinion. But then we have no idea what Man United are going to be in the final day of the season. Do you know what I mean? It's like, are they going to be Europa League winners or losers? It doesn't matter. Amrin doesn't care about the league anymore. He said that. He's come out and said that. It's not. It's away at Old Trafford. They got a terrible record away, but that's why I'm like so fascinated with that Bournemouth Villa game on Saturday. I'm going to be like tuned in. I'm going to be one of the biggest Bournemouth fans ever. Even if they just get a draw, even just a draw to keep them at bay. You know what I mean? Because everyone keeps sleeping on Villa. You know, they're dangerous. They're sneaky. Villa are sneaky, even more than Forest. Villa's the sneaky one for me, especially their fixtures. But I can understand where he's coming from.
Interesting.
Yeah, but
that's it for the questions, boys. That's it for the questions.
Yeah. If they win it, you don't know if their players are going to be playing. They might still be like partying, like gassed out, you know.
Yeah, possibly. But look, end of the questions there. Thank you for everyone putting their questions in. Just one last comment from me, Chris. Your initial thoughts on the breaking news that came out earlier on today. Looks like the Lloyd Kelly deal is done, and that Lloyd Kelly is now going to be a Juventus player. Fabrizio Romano has said it. It's been activated, 17.5 million euros with add-ons, looking to make it towards a 20 million mark. It's always been a permanent move planned with no chance of return to Newcastle, but now formally completed. What's your initial thoughts? Kelly, watch over. It's done and dusted, mate.
Oh no, it's not done for me yet. And the reason I say that is because I want to see. Fabrizio Romano quoted the add-ons, and we believe that the add-ons are based on European qualification. So I'm still going to be. I've still got my Juventus shares on, definitely. So I'll still be keeping an eye out for Juventus. But I think it's good that the transfer has been confirmed. It kind of removes any doubt now. So really, the big thing we're waiting on is to see what how much the Lloyd Kelly fee will be. Because I tell you what, if it goes over 20 million euros, I think it's a really, really good deal for Newcastle United. So I just hope now. We are David Tofield, 27 million inclusive of add-ons.
Yeah, they did the Euros now to make it bigger. No, the Euros make it bigger. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Considering we got him on a free, it's a huge fee.
That was such a weird transfer. That was such a weird transfer for me. That was like, who? Not. I knew who Lloyd Kelly was, but Juventus are after who? Lloyd Kelly. Lloyd Kelly. Sorry. It's like what? What? Yeah. On loan as well. It's like that's what makes these cheeky Italian clubs with their loan deals. You know what I mean? And expect us to pay like 60 million each for their players.
Yeah. And Andrew, this is the same Juventus that sold Dean Huijsen for what was it, Pete? 13 million?
13 million. Yeah.
13 million, yeah, and it could go for 50.
Yeah. He will go for 50, that's for sure. But look, I'm buzzing at that deal. I think that's Paul Mitchell doing some outstanding business for Newcastle United, and that's going to allow us to strengthen our squad in the summer with that acquisition. I actually think that acquisition of Kelly to Juventus allows us to do what we've just talked about, is prey on others in that PSR window. I think that money there allows us to go and do our work, knowing that money is definitely coming into the bank. So I think it's a great deal for Newcastle United. I'm buzzing about that. And look, best of luck to Lloyd Kelly. I actually think he'll have a good season next season for them. Now he's had this
good player.
His bedding in period. I think he'll do well for them. But we'll end up on predictions, lads. To the game, it's a massive game. I think it's going to be tight, boys. I don't know what to go to, so I'm going to go for my go-to prediction because I'm not sure what score it's going to be, but I think it's going to be close. So I'm going to go for my classic 2-1 Newcastle United at St James's Park, just because I don't know what other score it could be. Andrew, I'll come to you, and then we'll end on Chris.
I'm going to be equally cowardly, Pete, and go 2-1 to us. So I'll do that. I'll do that as well. 2-1 to us. Sneaky last minute pen or something like that. That's what I want. You know what I mean?
That'd be a half.
Right in front of our fans, where you put us up in the mountaintops, and we need like oxygen tanks to breathe.
Yeah. We do. We're shameless. We don't care. We'll put you right up in the gods. And Chris, to finish, what you go for, fella?
I have to agree with David Tofield and Geordie Toon for life. I did think 2-0. I think it will be 2-0 to the Toon, as David Tofield says.
2-0 to the Toon. I like that. But look, Andrew, absolute pleasure having you on, mate. Thank you so much for taking the time and coming and joining us. Just let everyone know where they can find you, mate, on socials.
Yeah, just follow me at the Winter Surfer on Twitter. I refuse to call it X, so I'm just going to call it Twitter. Just follow me there. I tweet out what I'm on or what I'm watching. Usually on Casually FC, which is an all Chelsea channel, or Sarcasm City on the panels or the watch-alongs. Like tonight, we're doing pro clubs, so I'll be on that. Yeah, just generally, I'll be on the terrace after the games today as well. So. Yeah, just follow me around like that, or just whatever I'm watching, I'll tweet out. So
Andrew's a great guy. Make sure you go and give him a follow. He's tagged into our channel on here anyway, so you can go follow him there. And we've all tweeted it out with his account on there. So go follow him, top guy. And it won't be the last time we see him on Loaded Mag NUFC. Plenty more top table talks to come, and we love getting Andrew on. But people. That's us out of there. We're going to go and watch some football. We're going to go and have some food, and we're going to go and hope for 3 points on Sunday. Bring it on, people. Chris, spot on as ever, top man. And we will be back with more Newcastle United content on Loaded Mag NUFC this weekend. Keep an eye out for it. We will be reacting to the game at St James's Park, plus more to come next week. So what should we finish on, Chris?
I think it's got to be. I think it's got to be the Isaac, mate.
I was thinking it. I just
put the scares up, Andrew. Put the scares up, Andrew.
We're giving best wishes and good feels to our main man, Alexander Isak. Take care, people. Speak to you soon.